Good morning and welcome to Mindful Movement with AARP Alabama. I am your host, Margie Curry, and today's session is with our certified yoga instructor, Becca Impello. Becca has been practicing and teaching yoga for more than 20 years. Now, remember, we want to remind you that AARP empowers people to choose how they live as they age. AARP is a nonpartisan 501c4 organization that has over 420,000 members in Alabama. AARP's role is to advocate for those 50 plus and their families. AARP Alabama is committed to offering opportunities for people to stay engaged from their home. The Mindful Movement series provides an opportunity for you to keep moving in the safety of your own home. Becca,
Good morning, Margie.
good morning, Becca. What do you have in store for us today?
Well, I wanted just to make sure we did a good all-around whole body practice. So I think we're gonna include those sun salutations that I sometimes bring around to you.
Okay.
Great way to get the whole body moving. And it's kind of a dreary day here. We might like to channel bringing back the sunshine sometime
All
later.
right. That sounds like a great one. It does. It does. Remember everyone that before you begin any exercise program that you please check with your physician so that you will be sure it's safe to participate in the program. All right, Becca, let's get started today.
Okay, great. Well, today's going to be one of those days where I'm going to be showing you two distinct options once we get up into standing. You have the option to do the sun salutation to the chair, which is a great accessible way, still a really good workout for your body. And some folks may want to do their sun salutation going all the way down to the floor. So I'm going to be showing both of those options, but you can stick with one or the other depending on what works best for you and your setting and all of that. We're going to start seated in the chair, however, and just do a little bit of warming up, getting our breath going, getting our awareness pulled into our body and checking in to see how we're doing as we warm up. So sit tall. Try to have those feet firm on the floor. You could be wearing shoes or you could be barefoot or like I am. It really just depends on what you're comfortable with. Might close your eyes here as you just take a few moments to check in. Just bring your awareness into your body and into your breath and see what you notice. How are you feeling physically today? How's your energy this morning? What's been going on inside that head? Just check in with the way your thoughts have been. And then let's come back to your breathing. See if you can start to deepen your inhale, breathing in just a little bit fuller, sitting up a little bit taller. Exhale it all out. You could do that through the mouth a few times to help you with those bigger breaths if you like. One more big breath in. Now let's do a bit of movement with our breathing to help us warm up. So drop your arms out to your sides. On your inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, maybe all the way overhead as high as you want to go. And then exhale, bring the hands down and into the heart. Bow the head a little bit. So inhale, maybe look up, reach those arms up. Exhale, bow the head, bring the hands down towards the lap. Let's do that again. Big breath in. Reach up, sit taller. Exhale. And bring it down. Two more. Good. Now let your hands drop down to your lap. Have your chin forward towards your chest. Let's loosen up the neck with some rolls. Just roll that head from shoulder to shoulder. That chin drops down and comes across the chest as you bring that ear up on one shoulder and then roll it forward again all the way over to the other side. A couple more times. and then bring that head back to center. Pick it up. Turn it right and left so the head stays up on top of the shoulders now, on top of the spine. And you just rotate slowly right and left. All right, and now let's move down and warm up the shoulders and the upper back a little bit. Let's do some shoulder rolls. So bring those shoulders forward and up towards the ears, and then back and down. And you can make this as big as you want to. You could start to, sort of use your arms with this, sort of picking up those elbows if you want. Now let's go one shoulder at a time. Roll one shoulder back and turn or twist in that direction. Make sure you're far enough away from the back of the chair that you got room. Roll in the shoulder, turn in the rib cage and the chest. And this way we start to get the spine warmed up a little bit as well. Good. One more. All right, back to center. Let's loosen up the side bodies. Reach up overhead. One arm down. Maybe hold the chair. Other arm stretches up and over. Now, if your shoulder doesn't like that position, try bringing that hand to the top of your head or bringing that hand over to your heart, but still lean through the side of your body so you get a stretch there. And then bring it back up. Let's go the other way. Remember those choices for where that top arm goes. Up, overhead, or maybe on your head or on your chest. Let's do that one more time each side. And other side, stretch. And then back to center. All right, let's warm up the legs a little bit before we get up into standing. So let's start with a marching. One knee up high. Try not to lean back. Try not to roll back. Just pick up one foot, one knee. Get the hips loosened up. Feel free to hold on if you need a little more stability. You can hold the sides of your chair, or you can bring the arms out to the side if you want to work your core a little bit more. Let's now take this leg out to the side. Pick it up and take it out. Pick it up and bring it in. And remember, you're making the movement that seems right for your body. So, not a forceful, big as possible kind of movement, not usually anyway, but just kind of a generous movement that feels within the capacity of your body, maybe challenges it a little bit, but doesn't strain it, right? All right, legs in front, arms down. Let's bend and straighten one knee a few times. Get the knee joint lubricated and warmed up. Good, and then hold that leg forward and do some circles with that foot and ankle. And then the other way around. Good, and then switch sides. Bend and straighten a few times. Get your knee joint going. Always try to keep those movements well controlled, not flinging, not using gravity or momentum. Good, keep it forward, circle a few times. Go the other way. All right, good. And then before we get up, let's just circle those wrists a few times because we will be on our hands a little bit for our sun salutation. There is a plank in there and a push into downward facing dog. So that does put a little bit of stretch, which is good for our wrists. It's good to warm them up a little bit. Open and close the hands a few times now. All right, now let's go ahead and come up into standing. So like I said, I'm going to show you two ways to do your sun salutation. You'll be able to do it right to the seat of the chair, which is just one of my favorite ways to do the sun salutation. Like I said, it's still a great workout, accessible, easy for lots of people to participate at various levels. And then there'll also be that option of coming all the way down to the floor. Okay, so I'm going to show the first round in the chair, and then I'll show the second round on the floor, and then I'll probably return to the chair for a couple more, and you'll get to choose which one you want to do. Now, do make sure with your chair that it's on a sturdy surface. It's not going to slip or slide. I've got mine on a mat that keeps it in place. You might have a floor that doesn't slip. You might push that chair up against a piece of furniture or a wall to make sure it's not going to go anywhere. All right, so we start standing tall, mountain pose, we call it in yoga. Standing all the way up through the crown of the head, firming up the legs, feeling, activating the feet as they press into the floor. All right, on an inhale, reach the arms as far overhead as you can. And then soften your knees as you fold it down. We're going to stop at the chair. If you weren't using the chair, you'd be going all the way to the floor. And then an inhale, we lift back up, kind of pushing into the seat of the chair. Straighten the spine, straighten the arms, and maybe straighten the legs. And then fold it back in. Soft knees, soft elbows. And then we'll take 1 foot forward and 1 foot back. If you're down on the floor, it's pretty much the same thing, but your hands are either down on the ground or up on your knee. Your back leg is going to be straight if you're in the chair, but if you're down on the floor, you might put the knee down back there if you like. I'm going to take a few breaths here. Active legs. So I'm pushing into my front foot with that knee bent over the ankle. I'm pushing into my back leg. So I've got some action there in my back buttocks, my glute muscles. And I'm pushing into the hands on the seat of the chair to get me a little lift. I could also be on my fingertips if I wanted to. All right, now we step back into downward facing dog. So the feet go back. They're side by side, about a hip's distance apart perhaps, and push back into those hips. Might be that the knees need to stay bent here, and I like to move a little bit in this downward dog, sort of bending one knee and then the other a few times, or just letting my weight shift, hips side to side. And now we're going to come into plank. This is where we shift forward, getting that weight back over the arms and the seat of the chair. Legs are still firm. Glutes are active. If you're down on the floor, you could do a version of this with the knees on the ground if you want to. Let's take 2 or 3 more breaths here in this first plank. All right, and then usually it's a good idea to shift back first and then step the other leg forward. So the right leg forward for me. If you followed my rights and lefts, that's where you will want to be. All right, so again, active legs, push into this front foot, lengthen through that back leg, squeezing that glute, push down into the hands, get a little lift there in the chest. All right, and then step it in. You may have to step that right leg a little back. We come back to what I call that tabletop or flat back position, and then fold it. Soft knees, drop down. Shift the weight back into your heels now. We're coming up for a chair pose. This is where it looks like we're squatting or sitting back to a chair. The arms can reach forward. They could stay closer to the heart. They could even go all the way overhead. And then we'll rise up tall, stretch up a bit for the ceiling or the sky, and then hands down to the heart. All right, so like I said, I'm going to show the second round going all the way to the floor, but please feel free to keep working with the chair if that's the version that you're going to stick with. All right, so it starts the same, standing tall, find your feet, lift up through the crown of the head. Inhale and reach up. Exhale, soften those knees and fold it down. You can go to the chair. You can drop towards the floor. And then we lift back up. Hands push into the chair or come up onto the shins, knees, or thighs as you lift up. And then fold it back down. Let's step the left leg back first. So left leg back. I've got my fingertips on the ground here for this version, but I could also be up here on my thigh. And that back knee might want to drop to the ground if you're using the floor, or it could stay up. Take 2 more breaths here in our lunge. All right, and then we step back to downward dog. So hands on the seat of the chair or hands on the floor, and step back with both feet. Push back and up with the hips. Maybe walk out those knees with a little bend and straighten. All right, come to plank. So shift that body weight forward over the hands. Maybe you're over the chair. If you're down here on the floor like I'm showing right now, you could drop your knees to the floor. Keep firm arms, firm belly, firm legs. Push back again towards downward facing dog to transition. Bring the left foot forward. This is the trickiest part of the downward dog on the floor, is getting that foot all the way forward. You can put your knee down if you need to help it get there. Good. One more breath here. And then that back foot steps in. Maybe the front leg steps back to get in good position. Lift back up, flat back or tabletop. Fold it down, soften those knees. Sit back into those hips. Come up for chair pose. So those arms raise up. Remember, you can bring them close to the heart, out in front or overhead. And then inhale, let's rise all the way up. Exhale, hands back to the heart. All right, we'll do another 2 rounds I think we'll have time for. So I'm coming back to the chair. You choose chair or to the floor. Here we go. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold it down. Inhale, lift up. And then fold it down. Okay, let's take the right leg back first. The left leg might need to step up a little bit, especially at the chair. Push into those legs, push into the arms. Everybody has the option, if you'd like, to try balancing a little bit to come all the way up and bring the hands up to the heart, the shoulders over the hips. This is optional, okay? Feel free to stay with those hands down. All right, transition to downward dog, hands on the chair or the floor. Walk both legs back, push those hips back, lengthen out the arms, the spine. Here comes that plank pose. You can skip plank if you don't need to put that kind of weight on your shoulders or your wrists. You could stay in downward facing dog if you wanted to. I transition by pushing the hips back again. And then step in that right foot forward. Finding your lunge here. Active legs. Remember, if you're down on the ground, you have the option to put that knee on the floor. Everybody has that option if you want to take it to challenge yourself a little more, balance and strength-wise, by trying to bring the hands up off of the chair or off of the floor. And then let's transition. Stepping back to our tabletop or a fold. Lift up into that flat back. This could be hands on your shins or your thighs, remember. And then fold it in, soft knees, drop down. Shift that weight back. Sit as low as you're comfortable sitting with those hips. This is great work for your thighs, your glutes, your strength in your legs. Inhale, rise all the way up tall, maybe even stretching into a little bit of a back bend. And then hands to the heart. Let's pause here, take a breath. Hopefully you notice that your heart's beating a little bit more and your body's warming up a little bit. You feel the work of this activity. Your body is thankful for it, I guarantee it. Let's do one more round of those sun salutations. Inhale up. Exhale, fold it down. Inhale, lift back up. And fold it. Now let's step the left foot back first, the right foot forward. Good. Remember, if you're down on the floor, you have an additional choice here to make about putting your knee down, perhaps. Again, optional to try to come off of those hands. You can keep them here at the heart. You could try raising them overhead if you'd like. Okay, let's transition, finding our way to downward facing dog. Take your time with that. Shift back into those hips, lengthen out for those arms. 2 more breaths here. Then comes that plank pose if you want to take it. Shifting forward, getting that nice, straight, strong line in your body. This is good for the whole body, plank is. Good for, bone density stimulation through the wrists and the shoulders. Good core activation, arm strength, leg strength. All right, make that transition by pushing the hips back first. And then stepping that left foot forward. Find your way into that last lunge. Maybe coming off of those hands. That's your choice. You might take it to hands at the heart. You might take it to arms overhead. And then release it. And bring those legs in. Flat back, lift a little bit up, fold it down. Sit back and into chair pose one more time. So sitting back into those hips, weight a little bit more on the heels. Bring the hands up or out or overhead. And then rise on up. And exhale. Those hands to the heart. Let's pause here for a moment. Again, checking in, using that mindfulness aspect of this session to put your mind into your body. Notice how you're feeling, what the effects of the movements that you've just done are in your body. All right, now before we come back to seated and do a little wind down, I want us to take a few rounds of cat and cow. Just feels good for the back. So this could be, again, in the chair, come back to our tabletop position, or feel free to be down on hands and knees if getting down on the floor is something that's okay for you to do. And then we push into the arms and round the back, tuck the tail, and then gently lift the chest and lift the tail. If you're standing, it's important to bend your knees for that part. Push into that rounded cat again. Back and forth. I'm coming back up to the seat of the chair. A few more times here. Check it in, especially with that lower back. All right, now let's go ahead and stand it up. Go ahead and get that chair back where you can sit down once again. All right, sit tall, sort of towards the front of the chair, feet flat on the ground. And we're going to take a little twist. So just turn to one side. See if that front hand can come across to the opposite knee. The back arm might hold the chair or might reach back. A couple more breaths here. Sit tall, especially on the inhalations. Maybe try and twist a little further on the exhalations. All right, unwind it. Pause in the middle. Just notice how things feel after twisting there. And then turn it the other way. Again, hand can come across to the opposite knee. Maybe that back arm holds the chair. Maybe it feels better, maybe resting on the top of the back of the chair or reaching back. Sit tall as you inhale. Maybe there's room to twist just that little bit more on your exhale. Back around to the center. Pause. Again, just see if you can notice the effect of that twist in your body. All right, now let's take one ankle and bring it up, if possible, to the opposite knee or thigh. But it's also great to cross it on the shin. I extend that leg a little bit out, cross my ankle over here to the shin or the other ankle so that I'm getting some amount of turnout. Not everyone's hip is going to let them come all the way up here. All right, so you take it to whatever cross works for you. Sit tall, maybe lean into that a little bit. Good, and then let's bring it up and uncross, go the other way. So maybe crossing down at the ankle or the shin, maybe bringing it up onto the knee or the thigh. Sit tall. Try to give it a little bit of a lean forward, but maybe you're already at a limit. It may be that you don't have much room to lean forward, and that's okay too. And release. Sit tall. Scoot back perhaps. Get a little more support from the chair. Gently tilt that head over to one side and then drop the opposite arm down and out until you feel a comfortable stretch through that side of the neck. Take a few breaths there. If it's a little bit intense, feel free to sort of move the hand in and out of position to give yourself a little in and out of the stretch. Hand back to your lap, slowly bring the head up and pause. Again, these pauses are helpful for cultivating that awareness of your body, connection to the actions that you're doing. And then let's tilt the head the other way. Drop that opposite arm out and down. The weight of that arm is often enough to put a little stretch here, but you could also reach it down a little more actively. Remember that option to go in and out if you want. And then release that hand back into your lap. Pick the head up. Pause a moment to notice. And we'll stay right here for our final few moments, our final few breaths. You can close your eyes if you like. You might take a hand to the heart, a hand to the belly, just some places that you might touch or make contact with your body so that you can feel your breath movements a bit more. And just cultivate a slow, full inhale and a slow, complete exhale. And take a few breaths. Try to feel that breath in your body. Feel it slowing down. Maybe you feel your own heartbeat beginning to slow down as well. One more breath here. You can either drop the hands into your lap or bring the palms together in front of your heart. Take a deep breath in one more time. Bow the head. Just like to take a moment for gratitude always at the end of our practice. We can be thankful to our bodies, thankful for the opportunity to learn and use it, and thankful to AARP of Alabama for giving us this opportunity together. Thanks for joining, and I hope to see you in 2 weeks for mindful movement again. And of course, we have another session next week with our other instructor. So join us every Tuesday if you can at 10 a.m.
Thank you, Becca. Awesome session today.
Good.
Remember, folks, if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much, Becca. And you have everyone, and Becca, have a great week.
You too, Margie.
Thank you.